Back on Inside Tennessee with my colleague John North. Our focus, Knox County School Board, because it's changing. About a third of the board will be new. Another seat that is open is Patty Bound's seat. That is District 7. We welcome two candidates in that seat, Dominique Oakley as well as Steve Triplett. And we're glad to have both of you with us, an independent and a Republican running in this race. And I just want to mention the schools that are a part of this district. Adrian Burnett Elementary, Bricky McLeod Elementary, Halls High, Halls Middle, Powell Elementary. It gives you a sense of what this district covers. Again, we asked our candidates prior to about why they're running. Dominique Oakley, let's start with you. Why do you want to run for this seat?
In my case, I am a fourth generation Knoxville educator. I also have children in the district. And, I really believe in our public schools. I have a vested interest as both a parent and a teacher, as well as a small business owner in the community, to really make sure our schools give us the best that we can have here in Knox County. All
right. Mr. Triplett, your reason for running.
Sure. I've spent most of my life in the service of young people, a number of years in youth ministry, some years in education, and then more recently my years as a general manager at Chick-fil-A in Fountain City, working with hundreds of students and graduates in Knox County schools. And when Patty Bounds decided not to run, I've often thought I wish I could get to the students before they get to me, 15, 16, applying for their first job. And she decided not to run and just became a kind of a natural next step for me, an opportunity for me to make a difference, and wanted to continue with a strong conservative in that seat. So I decided to run.
Candidates, we want to shift now to talking about an issue that has got teachers speaking and some parents as well. And that's comments that were made earlier this month by the head of the Hillsdale College out of Michigan, which I'm sure you're familiar. Governor Lee is interested in doing some business with Hillsdale to introduce some curriculum for charter schools in the state of Tennessee. He made some remarks that many educators found disparaging, insulting their intelligence and the idea of getting an education degree. I'm interested in your thoughts about that. And I'm also really interested as to whether you think, as some school boards have done here lately, including Knox County just recently, should be condemning and rebuking those remarks. Mr. Triplett, let's start with you, please, sir.
Sure, absolutely. If you know teachers, and certainly the teachers I have gotten to know in District 7, they have a passion and a heart. They're not doing it for some sort of financial or monetary gain. They're doing it because many of them feel a calling and certainly want to make a difference in the lives of young people. And we have tremendously smart teachers in Knox County. And if you look even recently at the test scores that have come out with the English language arts and math, those have improved even in spite of coming out of that pandemic year. And so it obviously is a testament to the work and the effort and how talented and smart our teachers are, and certainly would completely and totally disagree with those comments.
And would you support, if you were on school board, some kind of a resolution condemning what he said?
Yeah, absolutely. I would support a resolution saying that those comments were certainly out of bounds and certainly to be condemned.
Ms. Oakley, I think you said you're fourth generation when it comes to education. Can you address my question, please?
Absolutely. I am a fourth generation public school teacher, and I am proud to say no one that I know is dumb in the teaching field. And the fact that he used that word to discuss teachers is absolutely abhorrent. I would unequivocally come out and be willing to vote to do exactly what Knox County has done and speak out against Mr. Arnn, because that is unquestionably not what our teachers need at this time. We cannot even fill all the positions we currently have because teachers have been so disrespected. I, have been lucky enough to receive the endorsement of our local teachers group. And, that's because I really support teachers. I also support students, but teachers are what we need. They are the backbone of our education system. And to treat them the way he did is unequivocally horrible and must be renounced.
And again, taking Mr. Arnn out of the equation, Ms. Oakley, what are your thoughts on charter schools? Are they helpful or harmful to public education as a whole?
In Tennessee, they have not worked for us. Our students in charter schools in Tennessee have not actually shown any performance gains worth investing in. That is unfortunate. There is a lot of possibility in the idea behind charter schools. However, the actuality here in Tennessee has not worked. So I would also not be voting for Hillsdale College and their charter schools in Knox County.
And Mr. Triplett, your thoughts on charter schools?
Certainly, I think that as a school board member, we have a responsibility to make Knox County schools the best they can possibly be, and have them perform at the top level academically. But I also feel like we also need to look at what's best for the student. And I do think that we are extremely blessed with Emerald Academy here in Knox County and have done very, very well, even kind of in the state in their scores. And so they've done a really great job. And so I would certainly be in support of a charter school, obviously, as long as they're performing up to par and meeting the metrics. But I feel like we need to look at what's best for the student. And there are some students, I think, that benefit from charter schools.
Candidates, some lawmakers in their wisdom in the state of Tennessee have decided that there should be more regulation of public school libraries. I'm just kind of curious as to your thoughts about whether you think they're being sort of followed and overseen properly, or whether there needs to be any more regulation. And let's start with you, Mr. Triplett.
Certainly. I certainly think parents should have a right to know what is in their school's library, what access, what books your children, my children have access to. So I certainly think some oversight in that is necessary, and keeping certain subject matter out. The challenge when you have a state regulation is the implementation of that law and that expectation. And I'm sure that is very much a challenge. But I know they're working to provide some sort of access for parents so they know what's in the libraries, in the schools. And I think that is fair. I think transparency is one of the things that I am a huge fan of. And so I do certainly support parents having access to knowledge as to what is in the libraries in their schools.
And Ms. Oakley, what are your thoughts?
I 100% support school transparency when it comes to showing what we actually have available. You know, in Knox County, we already meet the requirements for the new the new state law. So we don't actually have an issue with that here in Knox County. You know, the majority of our schools have wonderful resources that are completely available online and could easily be moved to the website for parents to easily be able to reach anytime, 24 hours a day or night. The nice thing about this state law is it's also going to bring the counties and the schools that do not have great libraries to the forefront, because we're all going to be able to log in and see that some of these more poor rural schools do not have adequate libraries. That might have 1,000 students and only 200 books. Then there are situations like that across our great state of Tennessee, and that law is going to allow us as parents and as community members to see where there are inequities and actually begin to meet some of those.
We're going to take a quick break here on Inside Tennessee. We're back with more from the candidates in District 7 right after this.